Happy Friday, America. Really excited to be here. And sometimes, you just got to roll with the punches in life. And it's a new year, still the first month of this new year. So hopefully you're still sticking to all your dedications and throughout the entire year of 2024. My name is Arthur. We just heard the Fricashennas playing us in with the Happy Friday anthem. Love that. I'm sitting across the table from one of my very best friends and co-host that I couldn't do it without. That's right, Kevin Batstone.
Happy Friday, America. Good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us here again. Hope everyone's warming up out there, guys. It's been cold around the country. Everywhere has been bitterly cold. Even here in Denver, we were minus 10. Seeing a little bit of warm up here. Hopefully it's warming up where you're at. Let's get into some history, Art. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get into this. We're working off the phones this week due to a printer malfunction, but we're still going to rock with it. So January 19th, 1883, the first electric lighting system they used overhead wires for this, and that was in Roselee, New Jersey. It was created by Thomas Edison. So the very first, electronic lighting system went up. So that's pretty crazy. That's a big one, I think.
Yeah, that's back in 1883. Keeping it moving up to 1903, we have the first regular transatlantic radio broadcast between the U.S. and England. Mm-hmm. Talk about major innovation in the world of communications.
Major innovation in the world of communications. That rolled off the tongue nicely.
Innovation communication.
Yes, on, the Not For Nothing Nation.
On the Not For Nothing Nation. Yes. The Full Send Network.
We're going up to 1938 here. So General Motors begins mass production on the diesel engines. I didn't find anything on Ford, Kev. I know you'd like to see that.
That's all right.
But it's still a cool milestone. Mass production on the diesel.
Yeah.
1938, man. That's almost a century ago.
Someone had to spearhead, the diesel engine movement. Of course, Freightliner and a lot of those other guys ended up stepping in and really dominating. Please tell me we got some nuclear testing on this day in history.
Yeah, I was so happy to see this. 1957, USSR performs an atmospheric nuclear test. Thank you, fallen USSR. We had been like 3 weeks starved of actual nuclear test. Today in history.
Took a little bit of the holidays off for testing, and now we're back full send testing.
Yes, what we got next, man?
Yeah, so speaking of testing, so LG is getting ready to roll out their first American U.S. Electric vehicle charging plant. Okay. So where they build these charging apparatuses that are going up everywhere. And by the way, piggybacking off how cold it's been, I saw a report this morning out of Chicago that it's so cold in Chicago that the electric vehicle charging stations for Tesla are not working.
Oh, really?
So we're learning that these charging stations are not able to withstand brutal temperatures.
Wow.
That's not good.
No.
That's not good if you need to supercharge your Tesla. What are you going to do? I mean, unless you have one at home, you're kind of screwed. But either way, LG spearheading it, and they decided to go with Fort Worth, Texas. A lot of businesses moved down to Texas for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, Elon Musk moved Tesla to Texas, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, big innovations coming in the electric vehicle world. I'm not a big fan of EVs personally. I look at it as more, we say we're saving the planet, but in the long run, where are we going to put all those lithium batteries? You can't just throw those in a landfill. So, I know that's where the world's headed and everything, and obviously this is big because it's the first plant in America. It's going to be massive. It's a 59,000 square foot facility. They're kicking it off down to Fort Worth.
Yeah, my whole thought with this in a nutshell is I'm cool with the innovation. I personally really like the hybrid cars where it's
electric and gas.
Petrol and electric. Yep, just like that. And I think that's a good in-between to have while we're still developing this fully electric vehicle type of stuff. There's the resources, like all the cobalt and all the different things required to make these type of batteries is really it causes stress upon a lot of nations and their impoverished citizens and stuff like that. And it's also limited too. So do we even have the demand? What's that doing for other people? I don't know, man. I think instead of diving all the way to EV, I think it's good to do the hybrid route. I think they're cool. It's cool that it's coming out, but just like anything new, we don't know all the consequences until time tells us, right? Like we have to go through it.
Still in the early stages for sure.
Yeah.
There's no question that's where the world's going. So, get ahead of it. Start building these stations. I'm sure this one's going to crank out a massive amount. And there's, like you said, there's still a lot to learn in the process of. My biggest thing is disposal. With combustion engines, there's a lot you can do with recycling parts, scrapping the metal, doing that, and you can still do it with the exterior of an electric vehicle, but the batteries on those things are massive.
Yeah.
I don't know how you recycle those properly, and I don't know if people are actually doing that. I know people that chuck diehard batteries right in the landfill.
Yeah.
And that's no good. So I just see that becoming more of a long-term issue with EVs, right? You're kind of solving one problem but creating another.
Well, and the resources, like how do you, you're throwing them away, how do you reuse them, whatever it is, but do we have enough resources to really make that sustainable? Like, what is there any such resource that's, maybe it's like solar and like wind needs to be the things, or like using the ocean, things that actually are renewable and perpetually generate.
I agree.
But that's a whole subject. That's a discussion combustion subject right there.
Indubitably.
That we could bust into. I wanted to highlight this article that I found on NPR about the self-proclaimed bipolar general, and he's waging war on the stigma against a mental illness. And pretty epic story about Greg Martin. Now, this guy had served our country. He was deployed to Iraq in 2003. Was ahead of his team. Like he actually led his squad. He was very brave. Always had this relentless positivity, is what he had called it, and was always pushing forward, leading his men forward. So, war hero, awesome man. But that was like a pendulum swing on his bipolar disorder, which he ended up realizing that he had like 20 years later after all this. So after he comes back from his deployment, he's very depressed. He's trying to work out. He listens to metal music, also recites positive phrases from the Bible, but then is also starting to drink as a coping mechanism for feeling depressed. And so these are all things that he was dealing with, but fortunately, he stayed in the military for quite some time. When he went to go get diagnosed, they said he was fine. He grew in the ranks and ended up training people and yada, yada. But as the time went on, he ended up starting going into summit halls that he wasn't a presenter in. And so he would just go in and start giving speeches in these summit halls, and to the point where they needed to start putting security outside of all the classrooms, so then he wouldn't go in and just randomly start speaking during these events. And that's when it really became clear what his condition was.
Wow.
So he was given a choice to either leave the military, quit honorably, or get let go. So he decided to leave. It was like a 33-year military career. But the big important thing is, after this whole story, after motivating people on the battlefield, going through the depression, coming back, and then finally getting realized, is he did seek treatment with the VA, and they were able to provide the correct treatment to him, so he's no longer depressed. He wrote a book about all this and is bringing awareness to it and helping vets, because there is a stigma that it's going to ruin your career if you are diagnosed with some kind of disease, and there's a stigma behind that. So a lot of people don't come forward.
Yeah.
And so Greg's story, Mr. Martin's story, is helping out. So that's the article. Really cool read. I like the movement. I wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, that's a great article. Greg Martin is a solid lad. If you want to read the whole article, just scroll down in the show notes down below and click on the link. But we've seen this a lot, being in this business a while now. The amount of people we've talked coming out of the military, that are in the military, we've learned a lot about the mental health that's around it. And I think a lot of people just kind of bury their head in the sand a little bit, and it's not talked about enough. And so guys like this can help others, feel heard, understood. They're not alone. A lot of people are going through this. I mean, we've had some great people over on Discussion Combustion talk about what they do for reintroducing vets into American civilization, giving them a purpose, whether that's with dogs, horses, just giving them something to do, right? Just that alone, having something to do that day, gives them a sense of fulfillment and joy. And so a lot of people are dealing with horrible things, of course, depression, bipolar disorder, that runs rampant across the globe. But, the military guys seem to get forgotten about a lot. So, kudos to Greg Martin. Hats off to him for sharing his story and having the courage to do so.
Yep.
And motivating people.
Yep, definitely like that. So if you're a vet, you're out there looking for some help, try to get in there as soon as possible, because even though there's still some waits, it might take up to a month to see, but they'll try to see you immediately if otherwise. Wow. Okay, I'll get that out.
All right.
What we got next, man? What we got next?
Let's keep it moving. So weekly segment here, Kev's Random Records. Always fun. There's a lot of records out there, but this one kind of caught my eye, and I would, again, encourage you to scroll down, click the link, watch this, because it's a pretty quick video.
This guy's a mad lad.
So the German lad, he drinks a cup of coffee in 3.12 seconds. Now, you're probably thinking, I could slam that, I could chug this.
Yeah, I was thinking
the
the
deal,
same.
Right? You got to watch this video, because this is a steaming hot cup of coffee.
Oh.
Fresh out of the carafe.
Okay.
Pour that, fill that mug up, and he's getting ready. Timer's on. They're ready. The previous record, I think he shaved 0.05 seconds off the previous record that was previously recorded by Guinness Book. So he says, I'm gonna go ahead and take this. I mean, we're talking about splitting hairs at this point with this kind of record. I'm sure somebody could do it in 3 flat. So takes the cup, slams it, and you can just instantly see he's like, oh, it's burning the esophagus.
Yeah.
Like he had to get it down.
Like
No drop.
how do you train? You got to train for that. You got to
yeah.
to drink a steaming hot cup of coffee that quick.
First thing you need to do is learn how to slam liquid that quick.
Yeah.
Then you start messing around with the temperature. Because I mean, I've tried to slam a ice cold beer. That's tougher than slamming like a 45 degree. Yeah. 45 degree beer.
Sense.
So pretty crazy stuff.
That does sound
Breaks the
pretty
record.
refreshing though right now. An ice cold beer does.
Yeah, it does. Actually, a cup of hot cocoa or tea or even coffee.
You know what? I never did get my cup of cider during the holiday season.
Well, you can still do that.
You know what I'm saying? Like a hot cup of cider. I never did get that.
You can still do that. So 3.12. Do you guys think you could drink a cup of coffee hot that quick? Let us know down below.
I don't think I'm doing it.
I don't even think I would attempt it, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not attempting that. But what we are going to attempt is a cool Would You Rather this week. But we're also diving into the archives from last week. Kev, you had the results from last week's Would You Rather.
All right, so last week's Would You Rather, for those who forgot, need a quick reminder. It was, would you rather have the same socks on for 3 weeks or wear the same underwear for 3 weeks?
I think people are going with your answer on this one. I think that they're going to go with yours.
Yep, so 100% unanimous decision says they're keeping their socks on for 3 weeks.
Really?
And rotating the underwear.
100%.
100%.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Out of 70-ish votes.
Hey, I'm all right with that. You guys, anyone tuning in, you guys and gals, anyone tuning in can participate in these Would You Rather polls on the X/Twitter account, which is Happy Fry USA.
Every Friday morning.
Yeah, so check that out. Leave a comment below. This week's Would You Rather is a survival scenario one. And actually, we asked our guests the same question on Discussion Pushing yesterday as well. So, because she's a survival expert. So I wanted to ask her this question. So we're going to ask everybody here on Happy Friday as well. So let's say you're on a plane and the plane crashes, okay? Unfortunately, you're the only survivor, so no one else survives. Would you rather have your plane crash in a frozen wilderness, or would you rather have the plane crash on a deserted island? Now, the one rule to all this is it's in an area where you can get by. You can get by either way. Like, you can kind of survive on what's there.
Yeah.
Which one are you gonna pick?
For me, I'm going Castaway, Wilson, baby. I'm going deserted island. You know, I'd like the warmer temperatures. I got coconuts I can feed off of. There's a lot of bamboo that I can build a structure out of, and ultimately a raft to get off of the island. I think the climate for me is a more comfortable way to try to survive. You know, yeah, you still get tropical downpours and stuff.
Yeah.
But usually you're in tropical conditions, so it's warm.
Yeah.
Rather than being in if you're in the frozen wilderness, chances are there is a lot of lumber and other resources at your disposal, animals.
Yeah.
You can hunt.
And you're connected to a continent, so you might be able to find a road or something.
Yeah, I'm going to take the island. I'm going Wilson on this one. Castaway, baby.
Going Wilson, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I've been on the fence. Initially, I was thinking go ahead and the frozen wilderness and making the igloos and all the fires and then finding a road. So I'm gonna stick with my intuition on this. As much as it would be nice to find an island, I feel like water would be harder to find. Because frozen wilderness, you could melt all the snow and stuff. I don't know. I'm going frozen wilderness on this one. You're going island.
Going island. Island time, baby.
That makes sense, though. I almost wanted to go island, but I was like, I can't go against my initial thought.
I just think it would be easier to survive in a warmer climate, especially if there's resources available. You know, you can collect rainwater. It rains every day.
Yeah, I mean, maybe on this island. I don't know.
The chances are it rains a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
enough
in the Caribbean. Do you think is it raining in the Caribbean often?
I bet that it rains at least once a day, if not every other.
Once a day?
It's like Florida.
If not every other?
Florida rains almost every day.
Does it?
Speaking of Florida,
we got something out of Florida. We actually do. Go check out the Twitter. Actually, leave a comment below. Would you rather have a plane crash on a desolate island, or are you going to get your plane crash in a frozen winter land? What's it going to be?
That's going to be a good one. I think that's
Let us know.
Pretty 50-50 on that is my guess. Keeping it moving. So Florida man, Florida woman. You know, we always like finding the Florida articles for all our Grand Theft Auto 6 people that are looking forward to that.
It was a thing before Grand Theft Auto.
I know, but now it's
way before.
Now it's everybody's picking up on it.
It's been a thing. Oh, what now that Grand Theft Auto's doing? Now people know.
Now they're shitting on Florida.
I think they already knew.
No, I don't think that. A lot of people are dumb. Let's put it that way. Especially people from Florida.
Yes.
Sorry, Florida.
Well, and myself included.
Yeah. I mean, look, Florida's awesome. Daytona 500's there. I love it. So here we go. Florida woman decides to sue Hershey,
Okay.
which is actually Mars, I think, is the parent company.
At first, when I first read this, I thought it was Hershey Wood that was getting sued.
Oh, no, that would have been great. Hershey Wood's a solid lad.
No,
For all
but
of you
it's
that
not.
don't know him.
So she's trying to sue Hershey.
Trying to sue Hershey, which is Mars, the parent company, for $5 million. And so basically what this case is over is she's going to go on the premise of false advertising. That's really the only ground she has, and being misled by materialistic artwork.
Okay.
So, or edible artwork, I should say.
Edible artwork.
She purchased, throughout the holidays, she got the Reese's pumpkins and then the little Christmas trees and all the fun things that Reese's likes to do. They changed the shape, so it's not just a peanut butter cup. She says, well, I bought the pumpkins, I bought all this stuff, the little Christmas trees and whatnot, and it didn't look like the picture on the bag.
Yeah.
Open it up. She's like, what is this? This doesn't look like a pumpkin. We've all bought these treats, the eggs that they release around, Easter. It's just like an oblong shape of chocolate. Like, I don't know what you're expecting here. It's not the Mona Lisa Vito of chocolate.
No.
Right? And so she's suing the company over it for $5 million because she said the pumpkins, her little chocolate pumpkin didn't look good enough to her.
It didn't look like a pumpkin.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a pumpkin.
$5 million.
So how
do you
does she
justify that?
Yeah, how do you equate $5 million in damages?
What's the damage?
Yeah, what is the damage like?
So basically what she's trying to say, and she's sticking it for the whole state of Florida. So she, in her mind, has estimated that $5 million just in Florida was spent on Reese's products during the last holiday season, or what should equate to 1.1 million bags of sweetness.
Huh.
The whole case to me is ridiculous, the fact that they're even going to hear it. I would imagine Mars has a pretty good, really it's probably going to come down to a read the fine print kind of thing, like, or just like where it says, you see a lot of treats where it says enlarged to show texture, or picture it doesn't actually represent the contents. I'm sure somewhere Mars Reese's has written in there that in their clause, and this thing's getting thrown out.
Yeah. I don't really see this one standing up in court. I mean, what kind of damages? Like, what are the damages?
I guess financially they're upset.
Like, oh, I spent money. Well, did you not eat the candy? Do you still have the candy?
Yeah.
Like,
she probably ate it.
It's one of those things where it's like just literally somebody who had way too much time on their hands.
Exactly.
And they're trying to make a quick buck off of a minor mishap. Like, come on, Florida.
Yeah, I don't know. We've had the Reese's pumpkins and whatnot. Like, yeah,
they're equally delicious.
They're absolutely delicious.
Now, when you put the deformed Reese's pumpkin in your mouth, did it not taste like a delicious Reese's chocolate? Is it Reese's or Reese's?
It's Reese's.
Reese's.
Yeah.
But then Reese's Cups. No, Reese's Pieces.
No, it's not. It's Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
No, not Pieces. Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces.
Not Reese's. Reese's.
This is like a potato thing.
No, it's Reese.
Reese's. Reese's.
It's not Reese's.
Reese's.
Whatever you want to call it. People will know what you're talking about.
They will, and I think that it's jingle bells of bullshit that she's trying to sue them over this. Okay, that's what I think.
We'll have a follow up on this once this gets thrown out next week on Happy Friday. So stay tuned.
Yeah. We'll keep you in the loop on that one. Look, we're already halfway through the first month of this year. We're already like 1/24 through the year already, and there's been some epic things happening to help affect the environment. And so this was a cool article. I highlighted 4 things out of here. There's like 8, so go check out the rest. And what it is, positive environmental stories from 2024 so far. I almost dived into last year, but I was like, that should have been last week if I was doing it, or the week before.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks into the new year.
Yeah, we're on 2024 now. So first one, I don't know how everyone's going to subscribe to this, but chicken bones, we can ground chicken bones into a paste, and this could help cut food waste and emissions. So basically, food scientists found a way to make chicken nuggets and fish cakes out of otherwise discarded bones and hard tissue.
I've heard of stuff like that. Like when you look at like a Slim Jim, they, and this will probably gross some people out, but literally the first item or the first ingredient that you read is mechanically separated chicken. So it's essentially whatever's left on the carcass. They already use that for like Slim Jims, but the bones does take up a lot of space.
It does.
So if we can repurpose that into food, I like that.
Yep. So that's an interesting one. Also, we have indoor solar power. So these cells can harvest energy from any light source for battery-free devices. So this has been in development since 2019, and this company, it's California-based, is working on making it better, and it's basically a solar power receiver that does it from low lights. So like almost from interior low lights, things like that. I think that's a cool idea to kind of keep recycling some of the energy that we're outputting into our home already. You know?
Yeah, if you can do that, repurpose it. You can see that a lot with like grow lights and those aero gardens. People can grow crops and stuff with it. So yeah, you can do a lot with indoor light.
Yep, definitely interesting. I like the innovations, and we have a historic win for animals in South Korea, because they are banning the sale of dog meat. They're canceling the production of dog meat in the country, and only a small majority or minority of people were still eating it. And I think it was maybe religious. Is something going on with that? So as of January 9th, they heeded their calls and no longer selling dog meat. It's now not allowed in South Korea.
I'm okay with that. I don't really think we need to be eating canines. You know, I mean, even in like you look at dingoes and some of the wild dogs out there. And let's not forget Bruins, you know, aka bears, is the largest of the canine family, right? It's essentially, you know, the big papa bear of the dog world. It's a big dog, kind of like a big cat or whatever. So bear's a little different than a dog. There are both canines, but I like this. I don't think we should be eating dog meat. I never, as far as I know, unless I inadvertently did at like a hole in the wall place.
Yeah. How would you know?
How would you really know?
How would you know? Probably tastes like chicken.
Or beef. You think it would it be closer to beef or chicken?
It would probably taste more like beef.
Ish.
What do humans taste like?
We'd have to ask Jeffrey Dahmer that.
Yeah, because I think whatever humans taste more like is what dogs would taste more like.
Dahmer would know, but he's dead.
I don't know. I'm sure it's Googleable. However,
Googleable. It's Googleable.
Googleable.
I don't know if I've heard that word. Everything's Googleable.
Yeah. So one last thing here, innovations is cigarette recycling. Slovakia is transforming filters into asphalt. So I think that's really cool. Finding a way to, you know, take that material out of a cigarette filter, turning it into roads and this and that. A lot of cool stuff. One that's not on the script that I want to highlight was a country, part of the European Union. I'm not going to say which one, but they have free public transportation now for 3 years, and it's really improved the lives of the citizens. So that's just another quick call out, man. A lot of fun.
Can I guess what country?
Yes.
Sweden.
It was Germany.
Damn it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was worth the go.
It was worth a guess.
It was worth the go. I like that, man. 2024, good things happening. I like the cigarette recycling too.
Yeah.
Because those are another thing that's end up in a landfill, just ash, gross shit.
Yeah. Next to the lithium batteries.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with all that? Well, we're gonna take that and make asphalt out of it. I don't know what the hell you're gonna do with the recycled lithium batteries. I guess we'll find out in due time. Well, one thing we found out 104 years ago, Art, was that alcohol was ratified as prohibited.
Okay.
Get it out of here.
Okay.
It's just crazy to think. Sometimes I forget about prohibition of alcohol and how long it actually lasted. You know, it was the 18th Amendment finally went in. It was the production and the sale of alcohol. No go until 1933.
That's crazy. That is kind of crazy.
Think about that. It's 14 years where you couldn't legally. This is where moonshine and a lot of illegal alcohol started to run, and that's eventually what turned into NASCAR, but that's another story. 14 years. You know, these guys, and, you know, I work in the alcohol industry and kind of learning about, like, what the Jim Beam family had to do during that time. They ended up doing different things. They started, they had like a curry. What
was the point of this again?
Well, it was essentially for the citizens. They were saying that it was causing, you know, health problems, mental problems, which it does.
Yeah.
And apparently enough, you know, folks agreed, you know, that this was worth.
You know, those people that voted it in were still having a cocktail and shit.
Maybe.
You know they were.
Maybe.
I don't know.
It's hard to say because it was 3/4 of the nation's states. Just like anything what we're looking at with marijuana legalization right now, we're approaching 3/4 of the states having some sort of legal cannabis in it. Once we reach the 3/4, the 66.6% of the states on board, then we can go federally legal. So they had enough. They had that same amount of support to kick alcohol out. I don't see that happening again. Yeah. All the way to 1933 when they finally overturned it. You know, so that's why you hear a lot of like pre-prohibition recipes and stuff like that, because a lot of things changed during that time. But, you know, it kind of reset the playing field for what bourbon whiskey was.
Yeah.
And, you know, how to distill vodka properly. Because, you know, there was still alcohol being produced in other parts of the world, which couldn't do it here in America. So a lot of these families had to do different things. You know, the Jim Beam family had their hands in selling produce. They were doing rock and limestone and things like that. So they had to find different things to do to turn a profit while still also having this whiskey aging in barrels that they couldn't legally sell.
Yeah. Now that is really interesting, and you think about the impact that creates within a society. I couldn't picture society without booze.
No.
Like it's just even responsible drinkers like this and that, like it's too ingrained, and regardless, people are still going to find a way. But one cool thing is that it gave us all these speakeasies, like these secret bars, and most cities and towns have like a little speakeasy that you can go to, and I've been to one. It's so much fun. I want to go back to one again. But in my experience, you would go to this alley. You had to text a number to even get a reservation, and then they would confirm with you, and then you had to go meet them in an alley. They would open up the door. You'd walk through this building and then go down steps and into this basement, and it's like, where are we going? And then you end up in this dope ass bar that's hidden in this building in the bottom. So that's cool vibes. That's inspired from this. So that's my 2 cents on that.
No question, it was still going on. I mean, we talk about the Great Depression. I was during the 20s when people couldn't drink.
Yeah, they couldn't.
They were right.
Yeah.
That's where the moonshiners and all that really took off, was the illegal sale of alcohol. So I'd be interested to see. I didn't really dive too deep into some of the outcomes and the ramifications for folks that were caught selling alcohol during that time. I would imagine it's pretty similar to today, when you would either intend to distribute marijuana or other
jail time.
Yeah, because at that point, with it being banned, it was a Schedule II drug, alcohol.
Yeah.
So they were probably getting fines and slap on the wrist and shit like that. But there's no question you're never going to get rid of it 100%.
Yeah.
Amongst other things that I won't go into.
Yeah, it is kind of silly though that was even a thing. And as the world turns, there's always cool shit to do on the weekend. So what we got for this weekend, we're going to start it off with Rock Island Fest. That's going to be Key West, Florida. I've never been to Key West. I would love to go there. That's running through the 17th and the 20th, so definitely check that out.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. And Key West, that's one of the most southern points of the entire country. It's like that little, speaking of Florida, as far into Florida as you can go. You get yourself a slice of key lime pie and go rock out at Key West. The guy that said he was retired and has come back out of retirement, one of the funniest men that I've ever seen do comedy, Ron White, is back on tour. He's coming to a city near you, but this weekend he is in Gary, Indiana. I would highly recommend, if there's still tickets available, go check out the man, the myth, the legend. He owns his own tequila now. He got sober. His comedy is still better than ever. Ron White's ripping tater chip.
Owns his own tequila and got sober.
Yep.
What's up with that?
He did that basically the same time, too.
Didn't J-Lo do the same type of shit, too?
J-Lo has a cocktail called DeLola, and she's sober.
I don't drink, but you could drink my alcohol. What is that?
Celebrity, speaking of alcohol, yeah, the alcohol industry's changed a lot, and the celebrity backing behind it is massive now.
Yeah, that's just interesting. Winter Jam, baby. We know it's been frosty. Go old school and put on some frost tips in your hair and have fun in Louisville, Kentucky tomorrow on Saturday for the Winter Jam 2024.
Yes, Louisville, Kentucky. That sounds like a lot of fun. And if you're a gearhead like me, we all know that Goodwood Festival of Speed is the biggest festival of speed in the world. That goes on, of course, for a whole week at a time. But the Festival of Speed is coming to St. Petersburg, Florida, which is actually a big race town. A lot of racing in Florida, which I shit on Florida earlier. Now I'm kind of retracting a lot of the statements because
you're gonna end up living in Florida.
Probably Texas. I like Texas, but I really haven't spent enough time in Florida, but I like the fact that they have St. Petersburg Raceway there. They got Daytona. They got a lot of fun stuff. So the Festival of Speed's going on Sunday if you're in the St. Pete area. I would definitely recommend checking that out. And I'm sure there's a lot of fun things going on, whatever hometown you're in. Get involved with the community. Go have some fun this weekend, guys. Hopefully the weather stays a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
I know certain parts of the country that's not looking so good, but here in Denver, we've warmed up. So. Yeah. That's going to do it for this Happy Friday, folks. Be sure to subscribe to us right here on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's at Happy Friday USA. We talked about the Twitter poll and X over there every Friday, promo clips. And the poll goes up. That's at Happy Fry USA. Send us an email, happyfridayamerica@gmail.com if you have a segment idea, if you just want to give a shit. If you want to have some fun, that's your best line of communication to get in touch with Art and I. And what's that sound? Oh, that's the fricashinas. Enjoy your weekend, America.